So I bought this bike and the owner of the bike had a 10-speed rear wheel on it. It's got a 10-speed Compatibility cassette, and he was running a friction shifter setup on it with Shimano 600 old school shifters with old vintage type of crank and this 300 EX Shimano, I think it's maybe a 7 or 8 speed rear derailleur. And so I thought, well, that's a weird setup. Would that even work? I mean, 10-speed friction shifting, I mean, I have my doubts because, I mean, the movement is so precise for 10 speeds that I'm not sure you could use the friction shifter to get that right. But I thought, you know, I'd give it a go. As far as the derailleur is concerned, it doesn't matter what type it is because there's no indexing. You're doing the indexing on your shifters yourself, so that's a pretty decent derailleur. And I thought I'd just try it out. The maximum I've ever done, I think, is 8 speed on a friction shifting, and even that was a bit dodgy. So this frame, I think, is from the, I don't know, early 90s, maybe even mid 90s, but it's got vertical dropouts, which I think actually makes it pretty easy for this wheel to get in, he says with great confidence. I have had it in before. Well, I managed to get the wheel in. Wasn't very easy, I have to say, but now it's sitting pretty straight within the rear stays, and it looks pretty centered, as you can see. And now if I start using the shifting, this is where the creep is. That I really don't think this works. So I'm shifting up slightly. And it's not really settling in any of the cogs. So you're using this shifting really carefully. I can't. This is what I thought last time. I tried it before doing this, and I couldn't get it to sit in any single of these gears. Any of the 10, it wouldn't sit. And the derailleur is straight. You know, the chain's pretty new. So I use the cable tension adjuster here, this barrel adjuster, to try and get it to sit on more of these cogs. The high-low tension screws, I use them to line it better, but basically I couldn't reach the lowest gear, and it sat okay in 2, 3 and 4 here, but anything beyond that, it just couldn't sit in it, and it would just jump all the time. And I imagine on the road it would be jumping all over the place. Maybe 3 out of the 10 gears was possible. So now what I've got in there is an old 6-speed. It's a 6-speed cassette to Mallard hub, and the difference is pretty amazing using these Shimano friction shifters. I'll just show you the difference. I don't even need really to adjust it that much. It sits in each of these 6 cogs without any issues. I mean, even doing it with one hand, you can see. So as far as the spacing went, interestingly, with the 10-speed, I had to pull these out the stays to get the 10-speed hub in. Not a lot, but something. And to put this 6-speed setup in, I had to, I mean, the stays were a bit too wide, so I had to pull them in, you know, together, and then it locked in. So 10-speed for this bike is a bit on the wide side, and the 6-speed is a bit on the narrow side, but still the 6-speed sits in there fine. So the compatibility of newer and older shifting technologies creates big issues, I think. These friction shifters with a 5, 6 or 7 freewheel setup is the best, you know, it's the best thing. I mean, you find it shouldn't have any issues and slips into gear no problem. But you know, 8, 9 or 10, I mean 10-speed rear wheel is going to be a real problem. I just can't see how really you can have any form of friction shifting with a 10-speed rear wheel. Could be proved wrong by someone, but in my view, this is the best setup. At, you know, 6, 7 speed. That's the best setup for me.